Hello, hello, hello. We're back. Another live stream. Yes, more painting. Yes, we do. Oh, this is probably going to be the last one for this year.
Yep.
It's the last time you hear from David on my channel, and well, maybe not. We'll see. But certainly the last time you see live stream painting on my channel this year, because it'll be at least 4 months before I can take another holiday. And I don't want to. Okay, so this sounds pretty bad a lot right now, but it will get better because I'm in the wrong position. So let me just put up this poll. We're going to talk about Stranger Things today, unless of course you guys distract me and we wind up talking about something else. Dino, hello, how are you? Okay, so let's just unplug my earplugs here, because that's not really helpful if I can hear you while I'm trying to talk. Make sure you get yourself ready for those of you who are painters, because we're going to start in a second. Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and yes, I'm on holiday, but yes, there's going to be some painting taking place. I'm not going to do the painting, my brother is.
Hi, how's it going?
David is going to do the painting. David is not feeling that well, and he's done a bit of extra work on this while you weren't watching, so he will explain this very shortly. But we're dealing with the Nightwalker, and it's a big miniature. It's got a lot going on, and we're going to make that happen. Let's get that sorted out. I believe we're ready to go. All right, David. Give us the lowdown on what you did with the miniature while nobody was watching.
Basically just washes. I finished the base. I just put washes. I airbrushed a dark shade over it, which I'm going to just do some extreme highlights on, just to make it pop a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to do today to finish her off. Or him, or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Just a little bit of airbrushing there, and putting a bit of gloss varnish on the smoke, to make it sort of look like it's glistening. And his fingernails, and I put a wash, like an earthy wash over his horns and hooves, to make it sort of look more like bone. So and today it's just going to be sort of extreme highlights, really, just to make it sort of pop, work on the muscular ribs and anything where the light would hit. I can see it sort of bouncing off.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll let you get started, and I'll just Dino Manse, how's it going? Is the Nightwalker related to the show? Well, I don't know. Is there a show called The Nightwalker?
Are you talking about Stranger Things?
I don't think the Nightwalker is related to Stranger. Is there a Nightwalker in Stranger Things?
There's not a Nightwalker in Stranger Things, but there is a character in season 4 that has similarities to him. Yep.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, we're going to be very careful not to give away spoilers on Stranger Things.
I don't want to give too much away.
We're going to try to talk more about Stranger Things, its impact on Dungeons and Dragons, and the Stranger Things box set, and what it did right, what it did wrong. I showed David the box.
And how the show relates to the game.
Yeah, kind of like a lot of that's going to be coming up, I think.
Which is kind of good, because it only bases it off season 1 anyway.
Right, yeah.
So not too many spoilers.
Yeah. So basically, we're aware that not everybody will be caught up on the show, so we are going to. I've only seen season 1 and 2, and I told David, so he knows not to be careful about what he's seen, because I haven't seen it yet. How's it going, Steve? Steve Zurich is a patron, very supportive. He's helped a lot, I have to say, in shaping what I'm doing on the channel, and I've been working hard, Steve. I can assure you. I don't watch Stranger Things currently, but I know it is pretty well thought of. Yeah, I would say that's true. The miniature's looking pretty good. I think David's much better at painting than I am.
Thanks.
And he does have his own channel. What's the name of that thing again? Replicator. And what is it? How does it actually spelled?
RPLK8R.
Okay, so if that was confusing, we're aware. We need a name. We need a new name for David's channel. Yeah. Could David does, what do you do?
Everything.
Anything
to do with painting and drawing, art.
Yeah, art, yeah. So a lot of miniatures, cars, models of any kind, really. You've done Marvel, you've done DC, you've done Dungeons and Dragons, you've done Warhammer.
Yep, Raging Heroes, 40k. Yep. Everything, anything. Yep. Anything that looks cool, I'll paint it.
Yeah, fair enough. So what do you got here, Pale Rider? How's it going? I'll also say this will be the last live stream painting for this year because I just won't be able to get time off till next year. With the Stranger Things question, I like the presentation, the representation, but I'm not sure of its influence on the game. Right. So I get what you're saying here. Dino, you like the mini? Looks like you could paint a blue dragon similar. I don't know. I think a blue dragon might be more blue.
I would make it probably a bit more vibrant.
Yeah.
If it was a dragon, this is just because I'm trying to emphasize the fact that it's in the darkness, so trying to keep it sort of low lit.
Yeah, there are sections on it that are quite black, very dark, but it's just not a great huge matte finish of black because that would be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What do you got here, Jasper? I'm playing Shining Pearl. I don't know what Shining Pearl is, but you'll explain it, I hope. What's this, Pale Rider? Nightwalker has been around since the Masters Black Books. Now I don't know the Masters Black Books, but then you've probably been playing longer than I have, more than likely, Pale Rider. Dino, influence on the game being how D&D as a product has changed since the show came out. I'm thinking also terms of popularity. Like, I think it has influenced the interest in the game significantly. Steve, I know you are working hard. It shows in all you do. Mate, you haven't seen nothing yet. Yeah, I can tell you that now. Either people are going to love what I've done and keep coming back, or they're going to hate it and comment. We'll see. I've tried to really make it work. Chuck a link to David's channel into the chat. Okay, Dave's art. Yeah, I will. I have to do that. I just I can't do that very easily while I'm standing over here or sitting over here, and the mouse is on the other side of David, so I can't get in the way. So we'll do that. We'll do that in a second. We'll sort that out. So no, for sure, it's a reboot of D&D into the mainstream. So I like the fact that Stranger Things is really popular. A lot of people like it. It has taken a lot of concepts from Dungeons and Dragons, the influence on the story, and not just the fact that the kids in the Stranger Things TV series or Netflix series actually play the game. I find it highly amusing that their playing of Dungeons and Dragons in fact seems to be the tool that has made them equipped or more equipped than anybody else to deal with things that kill professional spies and government agents and like everybody dies. Like it seems like that anyway, and yet these kids are still standing after four seasons. Yeah, they haven't lost anybody. Like, they're still there. They're growing up. They're obviously getting better and better, and they're dealing with more crazy threats as time goes by. So I like the fact that because people like that TV series, they go looking for Dungeons and Dragons. I think that's like awesome. How's it going, Overboard? Hi, Joe. So what do you think, David, in terms of Stranger Things as a TV series and its influence on Dungeons and Dragons?
I've seen all 4 seasons, and I'm impressed with it. Definitely, I binged it because it was so good. Its influence on Dungeons and Dragons, I reckon. It's made people like Kate Bush have #1 hit from a song that came out in 1984. Which is broken records, and songs like Master of Puppets from Metallica and stuff as well. So it's done a lot for a lot of people. It's had a lot of influence all over the place. And I think because it is so popular, people would be drawn to playing D&D from it. And that's probably the best aspect of it. Whether it relates to the game or not is irrelevant compared to the fact that it's drawing people into the game.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, and I think you got to sort of look at it in terms of, are the things that they are presenting in the TV series actually bad in terms of what people should be understanding about the game. Like, the game is the game, and even the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series had elements of the game in it. It was very deadly. All the player characters were facing like things that you would think would just bat nuts crazy, and they were constantly running away. So it was very indicative of early Dungeons and Dragons, where you would flee constantly from everything.
You do get a bit of them playing the game in almost every season as well, which is kind of cool. And it gets better.
So would you say that compared to season 1 and 2, that season 3 and 4 are significantly better?
Yes. Just more. That gets more and more involved. The storyline becomes more complex. There's stuff to be revealed. And they're still playing that game. They're still playing it, even in season 4. So, and I think in season 4 is where it became most popular. It's and you have to wait to see season 4 to find out why. But when you see season 4, you'll know what I'm talking about, Fred.
Right. So season 4, my understanding is, without saying too much, is season 4 actually takes one of the iconic major villains of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's actually incorporated into that season.
Yes.
Not going to say which one it is, but so they must have some sort of connection. I mean, they must be getting. I mean, they made the starter box set for Stranger Things, which a lot of people didn't like, and I showed you, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I think it's interesting. There must be some sort of relationship between Wizards of the Coast and the people who are writing Stranger Things, for sure.
Oh, the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. Yep. I mean, they might be. There's a lot of celebrities that play Dungeons and Dragons. They might play it themselves if they ever had spare time.
So what have you been working on at home right now, anyway, if other than the stuff that I've been bringing along? I'm putting in front of you.
Me? I've been working on. I did a model of Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars. Doing a lot of drawing, doing cars drawing. I did a drawing of Stranger Things poster actually. Anything that sort of influences me, I'll do a drawing of it. And I'm working on busts at the moment, mainly fantasy busts, female fawns. It's sort of 1:9 scale, so they're reasonably similar to scale to this, but just chop the legs off. But bit more area to work with on them for flesh and stuff, so you can really play with the blending, which is kind of cool. And I've got some stuff coming that I've found on AliExpress, which sort of Games Workshop-y type stuff, 40k stuff, graded demons.
Right.
Just for the colour schemes, so they look cool.
I still can't believe you went and bought those things when I gave you just a bag full of miniatures to paint.
Yeah, but there wasn't a great unclean one in there, or a bloodthirster. Although the beholders are very cool.
Yeah. Right. So I've fallen behind on the chat, so let me just catch up on the chat before we go back to talking about Stranger Things, because we will. That's definitely going to happen. What do we got here? What is a class you have not played recently? I haven't played a druid. I haven't played. What would you like? What sort of class would you like to play that you haven't played?
Have I played? I've only ever played a paladin.
Yeah. I mean, I've played a paladin. Not that long ago, but yeah.
That I haven't played. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. The classes you can play, there's thieves and stuff like that. Assassins.
Yeah, there's the rogue. So you've got barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, sorcerer, warlock, and wizard. And there's an artificer which makes magic items, basically.
Maybe a rogue.
A rogue.
Something like that. But I still really, I kind of like the fact that Rosie's character turned into a vampire.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know about you. I don't know if there's one that I would both want to play at the same time, because I feel like me and David are actually relatively different when it comes to wanting what we want out of playing a character.
Yeah, we're quite different.
We are very
I
different.
mean, I'd happily be a werewolf as well.
That's yeah, I can see that.
I really would be cool.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I guess druid or ranger. I really like the ranger. I like the design around a ranger, even though I know a lot of people don't like the ranger that much. But you know, that's just me.
Aragon was a ranger.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just their features, like they generally just work all the time. What do you got here, Jasper? Hello, Jasper. So what do we got here? I'm trying to figure out where we're going here. Look, I don't know about whether was it Critical Role Matt Mercer's group getting big around the same time. I mean, maybe that certainly. I would say yes. Critical Role and Matt Mercer and Stranger Things showing up at about the same time probably did make a huge difference in terms of the popularity of Dungeons and Dragons for sure. So yes, absolutely. You like how they name the creatures after D&D monsters, even though they don't look anything like them.
Oh, we're talking about that. The Demigorgon.
The Demigorgon,
because
yeah.
That's the funny thing when they did the box set of it. They call it the Demigorgon, even though in the actual show they only called it a Demigorgon because they couldn't think of anything else, and that was the closest. They were fighting. I think they were fighting one at the time.
Yeah.
So they just called it a Demigorgon.
Yeah, because they didn't have anything else.
They didn't have anything else for it, so they were playing the game. They had a Demigorgon in the game. And they were like, it's a Demigorgon.
Yeah, it's some sort of it's like a Demigorgon.
It's like a Demigorgon.
Yeah, it's a big boss monster basically. Yeah.
And then they just called it the Demigorgon from there on because that's the name they gave it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, what have we got here? I believe that Pale Rider's trying to educate me. The basic D&D Black Master book had the Night Walker, or Nightcrawler, the Nightwing, and the Nightwalker. The Master Box was for characters of 25th level to 36th level. Oh, yeah, I believe they would be all... they'd be big horrors. I don't think they would be easy to deal with. So if I've missed any of you in the chat, it's because I've fallen behind on the chat. Okay, so if I miss anything and I don't see what you were saying, do you know the D&D cartoon that had the little barbarian kid? He was OP, but he reminds me of Bam Bam from the Flintstones. Every time I saw that character, I was thinking, oh, there's Bam Bam. Bam Bam grew up and found himself a unicorn that constantly needs assistance getting up ladders. Like, well done. yeah. Pale Rider didn't care for season 3, but 4 was very good and made me want to see season 5. Yeah, I understand that a lot of people are very eager to see season 5. I know you are, David, eh?
Yeah, we'll be waiting for a while, though.
Mm-hmm, exactly. M14, how's it going? Overboard. I'm still painting this death house. I bet you are, man. That's a huge project. And you're printing a bust of my son. Oh, okay, and his wife for his wedding gift. Interesting. I didn't realise you were like. So, is that full scale or is that like smaller scale? Like, kind of interested to know. That sounds like a lot, a lot of work. I know. Ever paint stuff from the game Kingdom Death? Those minis are amazing. No, I never have. Have you painted anything from Kingdom Death, David?
No, I've never heard of it.
No, never heard of it. But, you know, that is. Yeah, Artificer is like Iron Man. Yep, that's true. Yeah, it's essentially Iron Man.
Oh, I thought it just makes magic. He's got a suit though. You can wear a suit.
Yeah, you do get a suit, and you can shoot like a beam out of your chest. I know it's they definitely capitalised on the fact that people liked Marvel and Iron Man.
You know, yeah, okay.
You're not impressed?
No, there's just no originality in that team. Especially for a game that's based on imagination. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to call it an Orthic? Yeah, I suppose you could call it an Orthic. All-time favourite character was a juicer from Palladium Games. I was talking to AJ Pickett yesterday about Palladium Games, and he said he's going to make a second channel. I'll be interesting to see how that works out. But he's in his new place too, which is great. And I managed to convince him to come and join us for one of the Dungeon Master Roundtables that are coming up at the end of the month. And I also got somebody else, which a few of you will be quite surprised by. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I won't say who. You'll find out soon enough. Probably 8 months from now when I finally release it. No, I won't do that. I'll just release the whole thing unedited so you can see, and then I'll cut it down later because it'll take me forever. Yeah. Otherwise, you won't know what's going on. So you never have anything to lose. At least that is. I'm not sure what that's all about. Okay, I'm kind of lost. You've got me. I got confused. The spelling mistake started coming in. I don't know what I'm looking at. What do you got here, Steve? Had all of those D&D boxes, box sets. They were good fun. Yeah, I've been collecting all of the box sets for Dungeons and Dragons 5e, and if I could grab some of the older box sets, I would too. But it's just too expensive, or just impossible to find, and I'm not going to try to buy stuff off eBay. It's just not practical, or even Trade Me. And New Zealand doesn't really have that kind of supply of stuff. You know, if you're in North America, you probably find it a bit easier to find the stuff. But I'm in New Zealand, it's different. You reckon the same vibe as Bam Bam Fred? I didn't really get referred to as Bam Bam. I got called Fred Flintstone at school quite a lot, which used to really piss me off, actually, plus all the other things I got called. Yeah. Stuff can be racy. It's about 7 inches tall, weighs to top of his head. Okay, so it's quite big. Okay. Hello, James Lee. How's it going? Subbed and liked. Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear it. You're in for a treat. You'll find yourself inundated by me in the coming weeks as I am getting closer and closer to being able to actually start these classes. So the Artificer is awesome, very, very powerful. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a very D&D tech sort of thing. I still feel like the Artificer is better to stay in Eberron rather than be anywhere, but that's just me. You still have the red to gold boxes. Interesting. Didn't know that. Yep. Right. So here's where my head is at with regard to that starter box that was put out for Stranger Things. I actually think the idea of putting out a Stranger Things D&D starter box was actually a good idea. Did you notice though that the characters start from level 3 and then they finish at level 5? Mm. Now that's probably so that you don't wind up just fighting rats, right? Or kobolds or goblins or zombies when you first start out. Because otherwise you're kind of sort of stuck in that. So I kind of get the idea, okay, let's start at level 3. But how would you feel if you think about how it was like for you when you started playing? Do you want to start at level 1 or do you want to start at level 3?
Me? Yeah. I'm not very good at the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
I've never been good at the mechanics of the game, and you always had to help me with the mechanics of the game while I was playing the game.
Yeah.
I was more interested in the story and how making a story out of it. So yeah, I think for me starting off a hard would be hard for me. I don't know how to cope with that.
So I think one of the mistakes with that Stranger Things box set was definitely that they started at level 3 rather than starting at level 1. If they'd gone from level 1 to level 5 or 1 to level 3, I think the problem with going from level 1 to 3 is that you just start to get going and then you're getting into it and then it stops. Whereas it's actually, I mean, it isn't unfair and it isn't unreasonable to have a campaign that just goes from level 1 to level 5 and stops. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just continues on to level 10 or level 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? I mean, that's what where my head is.
Yeah.
Yep. Dino, what do you got here? This guy is my guru. Respect that, the hat man. Yeah, you haven't seen the hat for a little while, but that's because you're looking at miniatures. You might need to move a little bit forward on that miniature so they can see what's going on. So I think that's part of the problem. I like the fact that the pre-made characters are there, because they did actually have pre-made characters. So the new box set has done that. The original one did that. I always thought those were good ideas. They try to tie them into the adventure that's being run, and they also try to sort of give you some guidance around leveling up the characters, and they try to lay it out so you don't have to do any of the maths. All you got to do is pick a name and decide what your ideals, bonds, flaws, and your personality traits are. So what do you reckon? I think that's the best way to go when you're starting out. Just a pre-made character, and you just chuck a name on it and then give it some personality.
Yep. Does the pre-made character turn into a werewolf?
Well, I don't know about that. Turning into a werewolf is pretty OP. You won't need anybody else if you're a werewolf. How are you supposed to die unless you get shot by a silver bullet or a silver arrow, or your head chopped off with a silver sword?
Well, you know, someone's got a silver sword somewhere, don't they?
Well, you're probably the one who's got the silver sword, not somebody else. That's the problem, isn't it?
Oh, well, then you have to get the silver sword off me.
Are you trying to play the bad guy?
Possibly. Or maybe the good guy's got bad luck.
Right, yeah, sure. What do you got here, Dino? The other day I was in a live chat with Nerdarchy guys. We spoke of True Sight. What's your guys' opinion on powerful sight mechanics? Well, my problem is that all of the player characters, just about all the player characters in Dungeons and Dragons 5e have dark vision. Do you remember having dark vision when you were in 4e with all your characters?
Yep.
It was a carry-on, I think, to a large extent. There were quite a few in 4e that did that. I don't know that it's very helpful if the monsters have only got 60-foot night vision and all the players have got 60-foot night vision, because night's not very scary anymore.
Yeah. It affects the story element.
Yeah, I mean, what makes things scary is not being able to see what's coming.
Yep.
And the problem is you can always see what's coming. You don't have to worry about carrying a light. You don't have to worry about the torch going out. You don't have to worry about something being able to hide in the dark because you can't see them.
We did have a vampire in our team.
That's true. The vampire
will be able to see in the dark.
And they can see in the dark. That's right. Yeah.
And I think I don't know. Does vampire have sonar ability?
I don't.
Bat.
When you turn into a bat, I think she convinced me. Yes.
Yeah.
If you turn into a bat,
can you use sonar?
I can use sonar now.
So in the dark, you can bounce things off walls and find out where the things are.
Yeah, exactly. I think that 5e has got a lot of very powerful sensors on player characters, and I think that's sort of detrimental to how the game can be played. It sort of takes away from it. Like, it's harder to make the adventure scary when people can see everything. True Sight's usually like something that dragons tend to have. Like you can't sneak up on a dragon with invisibility because True Sight. It detects things that are invisible, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, sort of. So are you saying it's like giving the players the powers of the DM?
Yeah.
If it kind of makes it null and void.
It nullifies all of the fear factor and the powers of a monster. Suddenly, all the players can do all that stuff just as well. Yeah. So I guess that's where my head is at with special sensors. How's it going, James? What do you got here? Yep, agreed. Got to make it easy for new players. So again, going back to trying to make it easy for new players, I think another thing that's really important is to ensure that the adventure that you're putting forward isn't built like the older adventures, where you could walk into some really nasty stuff. Like you've got to, if you set it up in such a way that the dungeon master has some idea of like when is the best time for the players to actually face a dragon. Like, don't let them wander up and find the location where the dragon is because everybody knows where that location is at level 1 or 2. Like that's and the dragon's like a young green dragon because they're going to get their asses handed to them. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's another thing to take into consideration. What do you got here, Steve? You wished you play a werewolf. David wants to play a werewolf.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. Lycanthropic Curse would be great fun.
Yeah. Well, it would be bad if you were playing a werewolf, but you're in the land of silver blades.
And that's what you would probably do to me.
Well, that's Bob the Dwarf. Yeah. M14. We can have Bob the Dwarf. I've called many NPCs Bob when I had no other I had a brain fart and like nothing came out that was useful.
Jerry?
Bob. Gary?
Jerry?
Do you remember crashing or something?
Oh, reconnection successful.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I don't know why it's doing that. It seems to be alright. Okay. So I had a Windows update. I'm going to blame the Windows update.
To make me a Blood Hunter Order of the Lycan. Ooh.
Yeah, there are blood hunters now too. What do you got here, Pale Rider? I'm still a stubborn hold on using infravision. Yeah, look. I feel like some of the breakdowns for vision in older versions of the game did make it really complicated. Yes, true sight is better than having dark vision or night vision, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, because you don't actually have to see with your eyes. It's not changing the way your eyes work in darkness. You sense things through smell and taste and all sorts of other things. So it's significantly more powerful. What's this dino? Yeah, if players are in a cave and they can see in the dark, it's not scary. No, it's not. That's the problem. It's hard to surprise your players in darkness now, whereas before it was much easier, and so they had to have a light source to avoid that sort of thing. But the light source would only go so far, right? So that was actually one of the benefits. It's like, okay, we've got to make sure we have the old. We're going to have a marching order. Our marching order in older versions of the game, I remember when I was playing, is that we had somebody in the front who was leading off and would hopefully have a really good perception or spot or listen or whatever. Their senses were better than everybody else's. And then you'd have the fighter pretty close to them. But in the back, at the very back, you had to have somebody to make sure that if something crept up behind you, you didn't wind up getting absolutely wasted. Because if you put your wizard in the back, that's where they would come from, is from the back. And the wizard would go down and that would be the end of the wizard.
Some of this vision stuff, it makes me feel like, if you're playing Elder Scrolls on God mode.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Jay Lauren. Hello, Jay Lauren. If the Wheeler Brothers channel fans, don't have a name, I'm gonna propose well wishes, because a little more positivity makes everything better. Well, David's surname's not actually Wheeler. It's not Wheeler, Wheeler. I'm not Weller. It's Wheeler. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to pronounce it like a North American. Like everything has to sound like Wheeler. Is that close enough? Probably not going to work. I'm a Kiwi. It's not going to help. No. So yeah. But we'll remember that. Well wishes. I don't think David's sold on that idea.
Wishes.
No. It's got to relate to painting miniatures in some way.
Yeah, well, yeah. I do like the idea of the positivity thing.
Yeah, that's definitely you. Spider Sense, yes, M14, definitely. I want to make my PC level thematically, like looking for a lichened Blood Hunter. Yeah, okay, I saw that. Why not?
Lichen, yes, I liken to the lichens.
You want to make a Bob Marley class.
Why? What's he going to do other than sabotage the party by being slow?
What, because he's stoned?
All the time. And he has poisonous insects living in his dreads.
But he sings.
Oh, okay, so he's like a bard.
Yeah, so every monster will know exactly where you are as he's singing. And he's stoned. It's not.
So he'll sing anyway, even if there is a monster.
Probably. It'll be like the bard from Asterix. You know, they tie him up and stick him under the tree or hang him from the tree or something like that. Yeah, that's Bob Marley class. Yeah. How's the good way to accommodate players' wants if they want to thematically level into new classes? You talk to them and you decide what you will accept and what you won't. I don't really get too caught up into thematically leveling into a class because, see, for me, when somebody levels up, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you should be doing training before you level up. And I'm like, no, all of the adventuring you were doing, that is putting your training into practice. So actually fighting real monsters and having to deal with real problems in the adventure is vastly more difficult than your training. Your training is nothing in comparison.
Because that's what you're training for.
That's exactly right. So that's why when you hire somebody, you want somebody who hasn't just gone to university or done their training, but also has experience in the field.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
people just want a piece of paper.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then you get the end result of that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's where my head is at. It's like, what has happened during the adventure? That sort of determines what actually helps them progress. That's why the leveling system is designed around you having to complete tasks and challenges and fight monsters or talk to NPCs or solve puzzles or survive traps, stuff like that. Yeah. Collect gold. Like, they used to get XP from collecting gold.
Really?
Yes. An older version of the game. You had to do something with it once you collected it, but yeah, it's basically how it worked. What's this? You're going to use Salvatore as an example. He used hot vents for camouflaging his characters in the Underdark. Wow, clever. Like it. Wheeler, Wheeler. Yeah, exactly. You guys do it whatever way you want to. It doesn't really matter. What do you got here, Steve? I prefer to start at third level with characters. Yeah, but you're experienced, which you just said anyway. So I'm not about to start a new campaign. I'm not sure when I would ever start a new one. So when was the last time you played a role-play game, Steve? I'm kind of curious now. Like, it seems like it's been a while. Enemies smell skunk and they only... Right, yeah, okay, you can detect the monsters by their smell. I don't think the players' characters are going to be good at doing that. Maybe a dog, but not all player characters. It's not like all the characters are like, your race is really good at smelling things. Yeah, really? Not really. I got Rise of the Drow at Gen Con. Okay, so you've just been back from Gen Con. Cool. This year. Signed by almost all the people that worked on it. And gave it to my buddy. Oh, cool. Sounds good. XP. Yes, that's right. You got XP for getting gold. So the idea is you would invite the monster or trick the monster. So invite the monster to dinner. Don't show up for the dinner date, and then go to their lair and steal all their shit. Okay, and then they'd go back and get pissed off because nobody showed up with for the dinner date, and they're hungry, and suddenly they've just been burgled. So that was like the best way. Or you would trick them, and while they were off doing something else like raiding a town, you just wait until they left, and then you went in there and just collected up as much as you could, and then ran away. And like that's how you didn't fight the monsters. So that was stupid. Or you would drown the entire dungeon of monsters and just let them all float to the surface after they'd suffocated, and then just go in there and collect all the gold. Like you didn't even have to fight them. Yeah, those were the times. Pale Rider. In Basic, they had a pretty good mechanic to train up with weapons. Okay. No matter your XP. Thindrel. No, hang on. Thenda 8. I think it's THENDA 8. Thenda 8. Hey, what would you say about not being able to find a mini that matches your character. Don't worry about it. Stop worrying about that. Draw the picture or don't draw the picture. It's in your imagination. It doesn't need to be a physical miniature. Hero Forge, there are other things. Yeah, I know. I had a company approach me about this sort of thing. There are other companies that make that sort of stuff, but they're expensive. And I mean, yes, they are limited. They're unique to you and all that sort of thing. But I mean, unless you're swimming in money, it's expensive as. 3D printing. A lot of people are a lot of people are 3D printing their stuff, and probably their own. You know, they come up with something. I don't know if you would necessarily want to. What do you want to go to all the effort of actually designing it on a piece of software and then printing it? Seems like a real hassle.
Don't need to. Just go on Etsy. Everybody else does it, so you can just buy their stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
yeah, exactly.
And it's not hugely expensive, as long as they ship from the States to New Zealand, though, which doesn't happen often.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so Steve runs 2 games and he plays in 2 games.
Wow.
Okay. Well, that's quite a few.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you need a new one. I think you've got enough to do. Collect gold, buy pub start Adventures Guide. 20% cut. Okay, all right. Nice, like it. Wandering aloud. Intricate forging mechanics. Look, if you're talking about forging weapons or magic item crafting, look, I've done videos on that topic, and I can tell you now that you'll never find anything that's particularly satisfying. So you just need to take what you've got there and then adjust it to what you think is suitable. Okay? I really think... I mean, I know Xanath has had a bit more information in it, but frankly, look, there's no easy way to sort of sort that out. And I don't think there ever would be. I don't think crafting actually worked that well in older versions of the game either. Like, if I remember back, 4E, it was like, no, not really. And 3.5, like, nobody was allowed to forge anything in the games I played because everybody was terrified somebody would try to make something that was way too powerful, and so the dungeon masters just didn't allow it. It was like, yeah, it just didn't happen. $12 for the plans to self-print. Well, that depends on what country you're in, Dino. If it would not be $12 in New Zealand, it would be a lot more expensive. I don't know what it would be.
To buy an STL file, something like that, it's about $30 or something.
In New Zealand?
Yeah.
Just the file?
Yeah. Although, yeah. It's I don't know. And you got to buy the machine. You got to buy the cleaner, the UV curing cleaning machine to make it fast, and then it's $50 a pop for a bottle of resin. So you want to make a lot of miniatures. You don't want to just make one, because otherwise the resin you're just sitting around there, $50 worth of resin.
Right, so you've got to make a whole bunch and then try to sell them off to somebody if you're lucky.
And you need to know how to do slicing and all the the 3D elements on the computer to get it into the software and that sort of stuff. And oh man, I'd rather just pay to buy somebody else's 3D printed model, to be honest. Yeah. Even though I have access to that.
Yeah.
I have access to it.
Yeah. So David does. There is a 3D printer down in the basement to where David lives.
Mm.
Don't listen to Fred. You need to go overboard on everything. Miniatures and terrain. No, that's because that's you overboard.
Miniatures and terrain overboard. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You would. You're right into that sort of stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's more immersive.
Dear. Look, they've made so many versions of the Dungeons & Dragons 5e Artificer. I'm surprised that people have not wanted to throttle the designers, because they keep reprinting it. You'd like to run more games, Steve? Okay, all right. You got some scheduling. Oh, well, look, if you've got 4 games, I'm not surprised you've got scheduling issues. Yeah, look, I'm going to talk about home brewing magic items and making your own stuff. Not so much crafting on the crafting side, but as a dungeon master, making your own magic items, because I know people want me to talk about that. I actually Was it yesterday? No, it was either yesterday or the day before I finished up the notes for that particular class. So it's ready to go. And I think you'll be relatively happy with what I've put together. So yeah, I've just got creating monsters and creating locations left to sort out. And very close. I'm much closer than I was before in terms of getting this all done. A +4 wooden dagger. Yeah, that's right. We chuck it in the fire and it's gone. Dear. Yeah, the price of gaming minis, it depends on where you are in the world, and it depends on what you're trying to get. I mean, frankly, that's sort of that's what I've found, and I've done more than a few videos on where to find cheap miniatures over the years, and nobody watches those videos anymore. And I think it's a product of North America. You can get stuff printed at your library for 25 cents. Like you take the file and you can get it printed for 25 cents. In some states in the USA.
3D printed?
Yes. Yeah. We could never do that here.
No.
Yeah. In some states you can even get it done for free. You can just go in and just get it printed as part of your taxes or something like that. I was like, okay, cool, blimey.
That's pretty lucky.
Yeah, keep it secret from the group if you like. You want to keep it safe. You want to keep it safe. Keep it secret.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe. I see. I see where he's going with this. Okay. All right. So, back to Stranger Things. So there were in the adventure that they put out, this adventure box for Stranger Things. They include a Demigorgon that looks like the Demigorgon from the TV series, but doesn't look anything like the Demigorgon from Dungeons and Dragons.
No, because I accidentally stumbled across a Demigorgon last night on Etsy when I was looking at models, and by accident.
Yep.
And I was shocked because I hadn't seen the Demigorgon before, so I'd only seen it in Stranger Things, and I was like, I don't understand how they compared that when they were playing the game to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of anything, so we'll call it a Demigorgon. It's still only got one head, but the D&D version of it has two. I don't know. Yeah.
It's a little strange.
It's a little strange.
Dino, what's this? You purchased a Elemental Evil box. Right, that's with the miniatures in it. Yeah, it does have a shitload of miniatures in it. Look, I always recommend people when they need miniatures is you buy the right Dungeons and Dragons board game to get cheap miniatures. Like that's always been my advice. But it's changing over time because it kind of depends on which one it is you're picking up and what country you're in, because it's not like it's really cheap in every single country, those box sets. Some countries you can't get them at all. James Lee, you think they have that in Christchurch Central Library? Well, that's nice. I don't believe it exists up here in the North Island of New Zealand. I have never heard...
That we know of.
Yeah, that I know of. I don't think I've ever heard of being able to take a file and just get it 3D printed.
I don't see... Yeah, I don't get that.
Well,
if it's a resin print, if it's a plastic print, I can understand that. Mm-hmm. But to get resin printed, which is what you want your miniatures made out of, not plastic,
right?
Because they're very... Yeah, the plastic's crap. It's a lot of chemicals and stuff. How are they going to deal with that in a library?
Yeah, I don't understand it either. So it must be plastic. It must be printed in plastic.
Yeah, it's a filament printer.
Yeah, it'd be filament printer.
I wouldn't want a filament print of something. Yeah. I would want resin.
Because you see all the layers, don't you?
Yeah, just you can't get the same detail. Resin is amazing. If you get the right resin and a good printer, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. So that original Stranger Things box set had two Demigorgons, which one is painted, one is unpainted. They're not made out of particularly good plastic, but it's the only box set that Wizards of the Coast has put out that it did have miniatures in it. It's the only one. They've never put miniatures in anything else. I'm still surprised that they haven't decided to at least put out pawns like Pathfinder did into any of these boxes. Like, are they trying to keep the price point really, really low so that anybody can pick it up? And that's the barrier to entry becomes a lot less because you make the product really, really cheap. I don't know. But I was talking to David, and we agreed that Wizards of the Coast starter box sets are not as good as a lot of other companies.
No, I mean, yeah, I like, with Warhammer and 40k and that sort of stuff, you get so much miniatures. I mean, they are more expensive.
Yeah.
But at least, even have a, if you don't want to spend the money on making the box set, you could have a box set, and we've got QR codes and stuff now. You can have a QR code that links you to an artist that makes models, and you can just go and buy whatever you want from this person that makes a range of models. It's something.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, I think the other thing is that having a QR code or a code that allows you to get digital content or the files so you can print the miniatures yourself.
Yep.
Or go take those files and get them printed out. It would have been that would have been the way to go if you wanted to keep the price down.
It would at least be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been something, yeah. There is no digital code in the starter Stranger Box set for Dungeons & Dragons. The new one does, but it's just... The QR code is just for instructional videos. So there's per unit itself. There's no huge cost involved, but there is this setup cost in getting somebody to do all these videos for them. But that's sort of like those things are like there indefinitely.
That's the question I was thinking to ask as well. Is if you could get a box set for Dungeons and Dragons that had cool miniatures in it, would you pay more? And how much more would you be willing to pay to get something that's got some cool stuff in it?
Yeah, I think that was the thing we were talking about. It's like, yeah, if you want something that's really cool, are you willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
How are we doing for the detail here?
Yeah, he's pretty much done, eh?
He's pretty much done. We're just gabbing at this point.
I'm just going over the I'm just gabbing.
Yeah. You can keep
I'm
doing.
just gabbing.
You can keep playing with your brush. That's all right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing with the brush.
Yeah, you play with the
I'm
brush.
mostly talking though.
Yeah, we're talking, and you're mostly playing with the brush. Yeah, exactly. What do we got here? I think they made the starter set to be theatre of the mind. Exactly. And I think the same thing was partly intended with the Stranger Things box, but they did include those two miniatures. So I think Stranger Things, they use miniatures. They don't use theatre of the mind. So I think that was probably part of the problem is you pick up the starter set for Stranger Things and you see these miniatures. They should have had the character miniatures in there as well.
Should have in the TV show they played with miniatures.
That's right, exactly.
So I mean
Yeah, Reaper Bones make reasonable miniatures. I don't particularly like them that much, just because you have to really wash them down. Water washable resin, I suppose. Is there water washable resin?
Oh, eco-friendly? I've only heard about that sort of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. But
how does it get cured? You can wash it in water. You can wash resin in water. But I don't know. You want nice. When you got something that small.
Yeah.
You want all the detail. You want all the detail you can get out of it.
Yeah. Jay Lauren, we won't blame Tom Hanks for Monsters and Mazes. Okay, he wasn't very famous back then. He needed the money, and he was probably desperate for a job. Even though that movie didn't really help at all with anything. You picked up 3 of the Goodman Game classic dungeon hardcovers. Okay, the Isle of Dread. I've played that. That's an awesome game. Did you play with that? Play that with me, Isle of Dread. You went to an island. There was dinosaurs, pirates. There was a dragon sleeping underneath it that I put there.
Yes.
Hydra.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I played that through.
You throw all the good stuff at us. I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Because I think
you were testing it out on us as well.
I was testing out the beta rules for D&D Next, which is what became 5e, and the alpha playtest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was doing the alpha playtesting, I used Isle of Dread, the Lost City, Castle Amber. Okay. 25 each. Last day of $25 each. Sounds interesting. Sounds good. I mean, Goodman Games makes a good product, even though they are really kind of like just rehashing somebody else's stuff. But that, still, you're still going to blame Hanks. Okay, you blame Hanks. Okay, Hanks needs blaming. You'd pay an extra $40 for, let's say, 10 minis. So Dino, one of the things I thought is that the D&D Essentials kit didn't feel like it was way too much money, but it had like a DM screen, it had some cards in there that help you sort of track stuff. It had a fold-out map that you could sort of use. I think it's double-sided, so you had the area, the wider area, and then a more localized town map. I think that was a really smart idea. I just don't like the Dragon of Icespire Peak as an adventure. I think it's very, very poor compared to other adventures. But I think the concept behind what was in it was actually quite good. But yes. Even if they don't use miniatures, at least paper cardboard pawns like Paizo does would have been something. You picked up a mint copy of the old module Queen of the Demon Web Pits. Oh, god blimey. I've had players trying to get me to run that more than a few times, and I'm like, I don't know. Are you really wanting to play that? I'm not sure. You got $36 for that. Okay, if that's a mint copy, that's pretty good. In Stranger Things, they use vintage minis. Yes, exactly. And look, I'm not suggesting that you put vintage minis into a modern game box, but you've got to do something. Like it's all very well saying, okay, we're going to play Theatre of the Mind, but there's an element to like. It just makes the game feel more exciting when you've actually got miniatures there. Do you know what I mean? And I know it still starts to make it feel a bit like a board game. I understand that as well, but I still think it's one of the things that drew me to Dungeons and Dragons was miniatures. You also got the Middle Earth role-playing game book. Okay, Treasures of Middle Earth. Oh, cool, blimey, you got a lot of stuff. We're going to have to chat about this stuff. Very, very shortly, more than likely, because I'm going to be on Discord in about 20 minutes, maybe. Working hard. Oh, no, hang on. I'm going to cook some food. No, maybe. No, I will be on there. At least for an hour or so, and then I'm going to go and cook some food. Because I'll be hungry. Is there any chance you could make a BBEG as Tom Hanks? Well, we could. I've got a section on making monsters, so we could turn Tom Hanks into a Dungeons and Dragons monster if you like. That sounds very strange, but if people really want it, then we can do it. You know me, I'm a goofball, so I don't mind. The Essentials kit is great. I just don't, I ran Icespire, and you would have had to homebrew quite a lot. I didn't really think it stood up as an adventure. Lost Mine kit, that was real nice. Look, I don't think what was in the Lost Mine of Phandelver as a starter box set was that great. I think just dice, pre-made characters, rule book, and adventure was like too little. But the adventure itself is great, even though it doesn't have quite as much guidance as you might want. But in terms of a box set, I don't think it had enough. I think people were quite sort of disappointed by the fact that they didn't get like a lot of things they were hoping to see. And I don't think it would have taken very much to make that happen, frankly. And like, even if they had been tokens and they weren't 3D, like even if you had just little monster tokens and some character tokens.
Well, you gotta have. I just love miniatures.
I know.
And I love gargantuan creatures as well. So that's where that's why my money's not very good.
Yeah. But we'll talk more about this, I guess. I think the other thing that I thought was like quite silly is when you look at the books for the Stranger Things box set, it looks like it's been done by a 10-year-old, and even though they're going for that sort of retro look, I think that would put people off. Would that put you off? Will you open it up?
They try to make it look like a 10-year-old, but the drawings are really good.
Yeah,
it's either going to be really good or really crap. Make up your mind.
Yeah. So,
and if it's going to be really crap, I think people would really not be keen on that.
Yeah.
The artwork's got to be good.
Yeah.
You want some nice pictures of some cool monsters, and it's got to be cool.
Yeah, and you know,
it's got to spark the imagination.
Yeah,
that's what it's got to do.
And it's got to look professional rather than like, okay, we just pulled it out of the head of a 10-year-old who has incredible art skills, like
dun, 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 dun,
and really good
dun.
handwriting. I just never thought that all the things Asian got attention deserved. Yeah, well, you know. Look, if people... I'm not going to even go there. I had this discussion with AJ yesterday. I'm not going to even go there. I'm not going to talk about Wild West, Western fiction, fusion, Asian, da 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 da. We're going to leave that alone. Okay. Look. I was involved in martial arts for years. That's just me. Anyway, do you want me to show you the other screen, or are you doing all right there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get his head in there.
Yeah, let me get around here. We're going to have to take off because I suggest to all of you, this is probably the last time you're going to hear from David for a very long time, unless you go and check out what he's doing on his channel. But you're never going to hear him because he's just going to show you stuff.
That's true. I'm on Instagram as well.
And that might make it a bit easier.
That's what my take on a Nightwalker. And for people that want black, there, black, blue, green. Merry Christmas.
Okay. So we're going to say it. Look, thank you to all of the patrons who support me. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging out with us as we've been chatting, and David's been doing all the painting. and thank you to everybody who watches my stuff. And I would suggest going and checking out David's channel. I will make sure that I post a link somewhere in the comment section or the description when I get a chance. And you can go and find out what his stuff is like, because he's got a lot more than just the Nightwalker on his channel now. He's got a lot of his cars and other stuff like that. So yeah, thank you for watching my stuff. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for supporting me by just watching my bits and pieces. And
thanks for watching me paint.
Yeah, it's been fun. We've the last few days have been
a week.
It's like 6 days. It's been crazy stuff. Yeah, it's been fun though. Yeah. So we might do this in 4 months or 5 months if you aren't busy and I haven't gone insane.
4 months is a long time. Who knows what will happen then?
That's right.
Who knows where you could be in that position by then?
That's true too. Things may have changed too much. But yeah, so wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours, okay? And make sure to look after yourself. And hey, till next time,
keep rolling those 20s.
That's right. You know what a 20 is, eh? You roll. No, it's not a dollar bill.
No.
And it's a dice.
It's a 20-sided dice.
That's right. Okay. All right. We're done. Oh, he's giving us some money, is he? Thank you, Steve, for the $5 super chat. And David, thanks you too. I just got to separate the money at some point when I figure out how much YouTube keeps and how much I actually get sent. we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll happen. So we're going to type in here. You're going to say goodbye?
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, I know.
Come on, man. This is your last opportunity for a long time. It may not even happen again. Ah, dear. What are you doing? Ah, dear, you're funny. Here it is. It's done. All right.